Well, here we are again with our Manhattan map, and we see the Hudson River over here, the East River over here, and we'll be visiting a small section of Manhattan right around here. The Gramercy Park neighborhood is considered between 23rd Street on the north, 18th Street on the south, 3rd Avenue on the east, and Park Avenue South on the west. The Landmarks Commission has designated the Gramercy Park Historical District as between these dotted lines. And we'll walk that area, and this is Gramercy Park here. We'll then proceed down to Union Square Park and walk around, observing the buildings around the park. At the corner of 22nd Street and Lexington Avenue are the Sage Apartments. This building is from 1914. It was converted to apartments in 1975. It's a Renaissance revival with a rusticated sandstone. The Sage Foundation was a philanthropic organization for the improvement of social and living conditions. And among its early works was Forest Hills Gardens. At the corner of Lexington Avenue and 22nd Street, the northwest corner, is what was originally the Manhattan Trade School for Girls, and it's from 1915. Today it's the School of the Future. Here at the corner of Park Avenue South and 22nd Street is what was originally the United Charities building, and the building is from 1891. And it's big, bulky, and somewhat boring. Originally, this was the New York Bank for Savings, and it was built in 1891. It's at the corner of East 22nd Street and Park Avenue South. The Protestant Welfare Agency's building at the corner of 22nd Street and Park Avenue South. Originally, it was a church missions house. The building is from 1894. And you can see the Flemish and Dutch Renaissance architecture. And it's an impressive building. Here we are at Gramercy Park, once a swamp. In 1831, Samuel Ruggles, a developer, bought 22 acres from the heirs of James Duane, son of a former mayor and descendant of Peter Stuyvesant. Ruggles drained the swamp. He laid out Gramercy Square and surrounded it with 66 parcels of land. Only people residing around the park in 39 structures who pay an annual fee can have a key. 1844 was when the gates were first locked. This is one of only 2 private parks in all of New York City. The other one is Sunnyside Gardens Park in Queens. Here are the Gramercy Apartments at 34 East Gramercy. And this is the oldest co-op apartment building in New York City. Jimmy Cagney, Margaret Hamilton, and Gregory Peck all lived here at one time. Queen Anne of red brick and red terracotta. It's from 1883. Well, here we see another apartment building next to the Gramercy. This one is from 1908. And it's in a neo-Gothic white terracotta style. David Chester French, the sculptor of Abraham Lincoln in Washington, lived here, as did Alfred Ringling of Barnum and Bailey circus fame. The statue at the center of the park is of the actor Edwin Booth, who was the brother of Lincoln's assassin, John Wilkes Booth. At 28 Gramercy Park South is the Brotherhood Synagogue. Originally a Friends meeting house, it was built between 1857 and 1869. At 19 Gramercy Park South is the former Benjamin Sonnenberg House. Before that it was the Stuyvesant Fish House. It's from 1845. John Barrymore lived here while working on Broadway. At 16 Gramercy Park South is the Players Club from 1845. And it was remodeled in 1880 and 89, and Stanford White is the architect. Edwin Booth bought this house to found a club for those in the theater. Next to the Players Club is the National Arts Club, originally the Samuel Tilden House, and it's from 1884. Calvin Vaux was the architect, he of Central Park fame. And Tilden was the former governor of New York, and he ran for president in 1876, won the popular vote but lost in the Electoral College. On the west side of Gramercy Park, we see 3 and 4 Gramercy Park West, 2 buildings from 1846. Note the beautiful and extensive ironwork. James Harper, a former mayor of New York, lived here. He was one of the founders of Harper Publishing Firm. Next door at number 5, Vincent Astor lived. Here's number 1 Gramercy Park West. It's from the same era as the others. Valentine Mott, the founder of Bellevue Hospital and NYU Medical School, lived here. This building at number 7 Gramercy Park was home to Julia Roberts at one time. Well, the park is about 2 acres in size. It's lovely inside. Of course, we can't go in. It's a private park. Here at 24, Thomas Edison lived at one time. And next door at number 26, the Steinway family lived here. Here's 129 East 18th Street on the corner of Irving Place. And this is Pete's Tavern, a landmark in New York since 1903. The building's actually from 1829. Well, they claim that O. Henry wrote The Gift of the Magi here, but that's just a story. You never know. We've made the walk down from Gramercy Park to Union Square Park, and we're on 14th Street, the southern boundary. The northern boundary is 17th Street. The western boundary is Union Square West, and the eastern boundary is Park Avenue South. The park was laid out in 1830 and opened to the public in 1839. Before the Civil War, it was a grand residential square with an iron-fenced public park, primarily for the fashionable townhouse residents surrounding it, much as Gramercy Park is today. But Gramercy Park was fenced and locked. Union Square is not. One of the sculptures in the park. Here we see George Washington. In 1854, it blossomed as a new uptown theatrical district with the opening of the Academy of Music. At 1 Union Square West is the Lincoln Building. It's from 1889 in a Romanesque revival style. It's crowned with a cornice of multitude of little windows separated by paired columns. The Spengler Building at 5-9 Union Square West from the 1890s. Another Romanesque revival building. At 31 Union Square West, 16th Street, is the former Bank of the Metropolis building. And this building is dated from 1903. At the northern end of the park is the Green Market. And this is probably one of the oldest green markets in the city. Been here a long time. Well, there are many more vendors here on the weekends. Here, what was originally called the Decker Building is at 33 Union Square West. It's now condominiums. It was built in 1892 and turned into condominiums in the 1990s. Notice the ornate decorations. Well, it's now a Barnes & Noble, but originally it was the Century Building at 33 East 17th Street. At the corner of Park Avenue South and 17th Street is what's called the Everett Building. It's from 1908. It's big and boring and bland. On the east side of Park Avenue South and 17th Street is now the W Hotel. Originally, it was the Germania Life Insurance Company. Then it became the Guardian Life Insurance Company. And now it's 20 years ago, it was converted into a hotel. The building is from 1911. With the advent of World War I and Germany being the enemy, the Germania Company changed its name to Guardian Life. At the corner of 17th Street and Park Avenue South is a building from 1929 in the Georgian Revival style. It's now a commercial space. But at one time it was the seat of power of Democratic politics in New York. This was Tammany Hall, the headquarters of the Democratic Party in New York City. Tammany did much for the poor and jobless of New York, but at the same time, in many cases, robbed the city of millions. Finally, in the 1970s, Ed Koch became mayor and Tammany faded into history. Well, Abe Lincoln gets a statue here also. This monument and flagpole was erected in commemoration of the 150th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence in 1926. Well, here's a statue of Lafayette in the park. Originally, the Union Square Savings Bank at 20 Union Square East, 15th Street. It's from 1907. Now it's the Darrell Roth Theater. It's a classy Corinthian colonnade. Here we see an apartment building just off the park on 15th Street, and it's from 1900. Corinthian columns and terracotta. Well, here at Union Square West between 14th and 15th Streets is the Zeckendorf Towers, a sort of bland apartment complex, no particular repute. But here was the home of S. Klein's on the Square, the original discount department store. Above it stood a Times Square scale neon sign that advertised Klein's name to hordes of shoppers. The modest budget was served there, not only with bargains, but also occasional high style. Klein's closed in 1975. Well, here at Irving Place and 14th Street, about a block from the park, is the Consolidated Edison building from 1926. The designer was Henry Hardenberg, who also designed the Dakota, the Plaza Hotel, and the Art Students League building. And there we see the landmarked clock on top of the building. This was the site of the original Academy of Music. The Academy's namesake across the street, an aging movie palace and concert venue, became the Palladium, and it's now demolished for the NYU dormitories. We're at 190 3rd Avenue, corner of East 17th Street, about a block from the park. And here we see what was originally called Scheffel Hall. It's originally a German-American social club. It became Joe's King's Rathskeller, or the German-American Club. It's in a Renaissance Revival style. And Tuesday's Restaurant and Fat Tuesday's Jazz Club was located here. Just off the park on East 15th Street is what was the Century Association building. And it's from 1869. It's red brick with a mansard roof.